Hey guys, I'm back. I'm gonna watch YouTube video. I'm back on my YouTube channel. No, I don't got no good.
Greetings, one and all. This is Ryan here.
And this is other Ryan here.
And we would like to welcome your eyes to a brand new series we have labelled Game Analysis.
In this series, we will be going through some of the popular franchises and bringing to light some background stories and strange mysteries that we, or you, the community, may have found.
In today's episode, we'll be focusing on the very popular Five Nights at Freddy's as a final goodbye to our theory-based work on the game. It's been one heck of a ride, and we've enjoyed every moment of it.
Let us know what other games you would like us to analyse down below. And with that being said, let's get on with the theory. So the first thing that's worth knowing is what the term nightmare actually means. After all, considering the name choices for the characters and also the general vibe of the game, it's very clear both are closely entwined.
Nightmare. A nightmare is a dream occurring during rapid eye movement sleep that results in feelings of strong terror, fear, distress, or extreme anxiety.
This phenomenon tends to occur in the latter part of the night and oftentimes awakens the sleeper who is likely to recall the content of the dream.
Over the past couple of months, Five Nights at Freddy's has consumed any proud theorist's mind space, frantically trying to piece together the story and also work out what makes these animatronics and elusive purple guy tick.
There have been some rather interesting and hard-proving theories, and let's admit, some rather questionable ones also. But hey, if you listen really carefully, you can hear a dog barking in FNAF 4.
No, other Ryan. Let's just admit we were wrong.
Okay, fine.
After the king of theorists, known as MatPat, made a compelling theory about the child representing either the puppet or Golden Freddy, many of us were prepared to settle. However, during Game Theorists Live, Scott decided to throw an animatronic-sized spanner in the works.
Betty. No.
From posing a question about the tiny toy Chica beak in the Night 3 minigame of Five Nights at Freddy's 4 to giving statements about shadows being easily misunderstood in the mind of a child.
Scott wanted us to solve the game, and yes, these questions and statements were rather blunt and seemed pointless at first, but overnight the cogs of logic started to turn in all of our minds, and YouTuber Razbowski posed the idea that FNAF might just be one big dream.
Oh, come on! You really expect us to go through 4 games putting our brains into overdrive until smoke is pouring out of our ears just to be told that none of the first 3 games mattered?
Actually, yes. But hear us out.
Let's really think about Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Now, I mean really think. Do you really think these guys are real? Would you really want to mingle with these animatronics if they were? These guys look like the final project of an evil scientist.
Oh, come on, Ryan. All they want is a hug. The jump scares prove that.
Anybody with common sense will know that these animatronics are the exaggerated nightmares of the child we controlled in the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 minigames. The only evidence we need for this is a quote taken directly from the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 trailer. What is it that you think you see? Remember this quote for later, as it sums up the entire theory.
It's all in your mind. 4 games, 1 story.
Today, we'll be discussing why Five Nights at Freddy's 1 through 3 was nothing more than the exaggerated imagination of a child, and how Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is the only true story to the series.
That's right. Move over, MatPat. There's a new sheriff in town. Wait, what are you guys doing? No, we were joking. Guys, stop!
In all seriousness, we love you, MatPat, so with that said, let's move on to the video.
Before we begin getting into the juicy theory, we first want to establish the basic story of Five Nights at Freddy's 4.
The story is based around this child who must carry onions in his pocket or something because this guy will not stop crying!
It's okay, buddy. Here, have a banana. Okay, fine, don't take it. Not even Santa Claus dressed in an Easter Bunny costume could make this kid happy.
It's okay, though. If we had a brother who tormented us day in, day out with that mask that gave me nightmares, I'd probably be the same. Shame on you, brother. Shame on you.
The child we are playing as, like we said previously, is tormented by what we know to be this child's brother and friends. From being locked inside the parts and services room to being lifted into Fredbear's mouth and crushed.
All in all, the story seems to revolve around the infamous Bite of 87.
Or you mean the Chomp of 83?
Let's not get into that right now. That's coming soon.
So why is this child so tormented? We can see he has a Freddy Fazbear plushies and even goes as far as calling them his friends. So where does the fear factor come into this?
Five Nights at Freddy's 4 Night 3 gives us this answer. Most kids who you speak to on this night will say something that would trigger an emotional response of fear into the mind of a young child. From saying the employees will kill you and hide your bodies in suits to being mocked for crying, getting called a baby.
Mix this in with constantly being scared by somebody wearing one of the animatronics masks, and eventually it will lead to the child being conditioned to respond with fear whenever relating to these characters. Take that, Pavlov!
So why is everyone so confused if this game concludes the storyline? Wow. When we try to piece together with all of the facts we know about Five Nights at Freddy's 1 through 3, it just doesn't feel right. Certain things don't add up.
For example, why do we see this girl playing with these toy animatronics if we are supposedly in the year 1983 from the Easter egg we find in the child's house? And that being said, how is this the Bice of 87 if the year is 1983? Why are we told about a party in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 establishment if it took place in a completely different location? Why, Scott? Why?
Okay, calm down, Other Ryan. There is an answer to all of these questions, but don't think you can't solve it just because the story is too complex. You just need to look at the story with a fresh pair of eyes. Remember the quote we told you to remember at the start of the video?
What's that? You don't? Oh, okay, hang on, we'll wait. Remember now? Good.
What is it that you think you see? It appears Scott's final push has landed us closer to the truth than we ever have been before, so prepare to have your minds blown.
First thing we need to realise is we missed something very crucial in Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Think back to Five Nights at Freddy's 1 to 3. The games followed the same pattern. You beat the knights and are introduced to the mini-games that reveals parts of the Five Nights at Freddy's storyline. However, we were not given time to form an emotional bond with any of the characters on the screen.
Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was the only game in the series that made us form an emotional connection with the character we were playing as. We played as the same character through each minigame and experienced the trauma this child experienced. And if you say you didn't get teary from the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 Night 6 minigame, then you, sir or madame, have no heart.
Now, we know in the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 secret games, we play as these different characters, but we didn't really form a connection with these guys. This was more of a sequence of events that had to be done in order to unlock a secret good ending.
The reason we connect emotionally with this child is because throughout the game he is crying. Even from the get-go, we are locked in a room surrounded by the distant sound of an evil laugh. We straight away side with this character because naturally as humans, we show empathy and see sadness as an imbalance and wish to comfort whoever it might be who is actually upset.
We soon learn that this character is being crippled with fear. We have to know that fear usually inhibits an exaggerated imagination, hence why after each night we are thrown into this nightmare. This child is constantly under distress and fear every waking moment we play as him, meaning it is buried deep inside his subconscious, which allows access to the nightmares he experiences.
As Scott teased to us on GT Live, there are 4 games but only one story. Matt, Pat and ourselves were very confused by this statement as we thought that it was obvious. However, what Scott meant by this is there are 4 games and only one of the stories within those games is perceived as the true story of Five Nights at Freddy's.
The story we are being told is the story of this crying child, something that is referenced throughout the series multiple times, from posters of crying children to dead sprites of children with crying lines running down their face.
Now, you may be thinking, what about Five Nights at Freddy's 1 to 3? Do they have any significance at all? What about the minigames and the purple guy?
Now, prepare for the horrifying truth. Five Nights at Freddy's 1 to 3 was nothing more than the imagination of a distraught child experiencing vivid hallucinations and horrific nightmares.
Now, wait. Before you throw that chair at us, just hear us out. Ask yourselves, does any of the Five Nights at Freddy's games up until now make any sense? Really, ask yourselves.
Let's start with the first Five Nights at Freddy's. This was the first game we were introduced to these suit-stuffing animatronics. We are told our job role. We have to monitor the cameras and make sure the animatronics don't escape as they are left on a free roaming mode at night to stop their servos locking up.
Here's a quick suggestion. Lock the front doors and invest in a security booth outside the establishment. I mean, we don't really care about the establishment, right? From the sounds of the kitchen, we can safely assume damage is being done and we still let them wander around. So what specifically is the point of our job? To not get killed? Jeez.
Think back to Five Nights at Freddy's 4. There is something eerily familiar with this layout, isn't there? We have a door on the right and a door on the left. Bonnie attacks from the left, Chica attacks from the right. And unless you keep an eye on Freddy, aka the Freddles, he will attack without warning.
We also need to think about Foxy. Once he gets inside your room, there are different warning stages which let you know when he is close to attacking, kind of like Pirate's Cove. Let us tell you that that is not a coincidence.
Also, think about the conditions of this pizzeria. It almost has an abandoned feel to it. Would you not agree? And also, how is it that the establishment changes around when viewing it multiple times?
The answer? It's not real. Think of the mechanics. If an animatronic is in the hallway, if they go near the door, we have to close it. Exactly like Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Does this not feel odd to you?
Want even more evidence? Let's think about the Easter eggs we can discover in this game. Most of them consist in the East Hall. We can see posters of a crying child. Now let's think about this crying child. Anyone who has played Five Nights at Freddy's 2 would straight away compare these posters to the child who was killed in the Give Cake to the Children minigame. But alas, this poster is not referring to this child. It is in fact a self-reflection of the child who is imagining this.
What other Easter eggs can we discover down this hallway? It's me. If you haven't guessed already, this is meant to be taken literal. It's you, the crying child. You are projecting your thoughts and fears, creating this establishment and these characters' motive to kill you. It's all in your mind.
Even without the Easter eggs in this location, we can see posters of the gang with the words "party time" written on them. What party could they be referring to, I wonder?
And what camera does this all take place in? Cameras 4A and 4B. 4. Five Nights at Freddy's 4, anyone?
Now, it is a shot in the dark to suggest Scott already had 4 games